Hello, my name is William Highland, and this is my video presentation for my Practicum project. Today I'll be taking you through my project's journey, its impact, and my future plans. This app helps people take control of their health information. It makes it easy for them to see their own health records and to take care of their health better. Today I'll show you what the app does, how I built it, and the ways it can help users. We'll also be looking at some of the problems that I ran into while I was making it and how I fixed them. So let's get started and see how this app works. First, my project background. The idea for this app came from seeing a big need for better tools in the healthcare industry. A lot of people find it hard to keep track of their health information, especially when it's spread out across different doctors and different services. The goal of my app is to make all of that a lot easier by putting everything together in one place. This can help make managing health simple and straightforward for everyone, and in turn provide better health outcomes for the users. First, let's talk about some of the other apps that are trying to solve similar problems. Some examples would be MyChart by Epic Systems. This app lets patients see their health records, talk to their doctors, make appointments. It's great for communication, but it doesn't give patients much control over their health data. Apple Health is another example. This app gathers information from your phone and wearable devices to give you a snapshot of your health. It's very good for tracking fitness, but it's less focused on managing detailed health records across different providers. Google Fit is another one. It's similar to Apple Health. Google Fit also tracks fitness and wellness data, but it doesn't integrate deeply with medical records, nor does it provide comprehensive health management tools. The application that I'd like to build would be a even blend across all three of these, something that can integrate into your daily life as well as integrate into provider management tools, so that way you can have an entire perspective on your whole health data journey. So first, for my app to be effective, I based it on academic and technical research. Academic insights that I got, I reviewed studies on digital health tools, patient engagement, and I tried to determine which features are most impactful, such as medication reminders or easy access to health records. On technical research, I did a lot of research into FHIR, which was obviously a major theme for this course, ensuring that this application would work smoothly across different health systems and also comply with any privacy regulations associated. Some research gaps that I did find was that there's very limited guidance in FHIR for specific scenarios. The example I would point to is incorporating real-time data from wearables and how to make that accessible then to providers. Likely that's because that's not the intention of FHIR, but I did find it interesting as I was building this app out. So my project implementation status. As of right now, I've implemented a few core features. This includes an integration to an FHIR server. In this case, I'm using a sample server just for testing purposes. I haven't yet integrated it in with an actual production server. My application processes the API requests, so it sends out the requests. It also captures that data back in the form of the response. It parses that data, organizes that data, and puts it together in a friendly format for a user to interact with. After that processing is done, my application also displays that information to the user. So again, most of my development work, most of my application work was all around how do we make this information digestible for a user of my application. I have some outstanding elements that were less critical to the healthcare integration portion of my application. Those are managing user authentication, for example, or additional iterations on the user experience. Being a solo project member, there's a lot of work to do. I think always the user experience can be improved. And if I were given, say, another 90 days, I think I would spend much of my time iterating on that user experience so it can be presented as cleanly as possible to those users. Some of the challenges that I encountered were in that I was totally new to the React Native framework. This was actually the first application I've ever built in this framework. So it taught me a lot of valuable lessons and shaped my approach moving forward. Some of those challenges were as simple as how do you actually implement UI, UX features into this framework? How do I connect that to the Android emulator? Oops. How do I connect that to the Android emulator? And also an understanding of the scope of the project and the scope of my implementation. Since I am a solo project member, the more time I spent iterating on one feature set was time that it was not spent iterating on other feature sets. So as a result of this, I spent my time on the core activities as much as I could. Integration into an FIHR server, processing the data, and then making that data accessible, right? I think more project members likely would have made this a little bit easier of a problem to approach, as we could have kind of divvied up the tasks between the integration work, the processing work, and then again that UI UX experience. Awesome. So now I'll do a quick demonstration of my application. So here I have the Android emulator running. I'm going to select my app. I'll log out for now. So I prepared a front end. Again, I don't actually yet have user authentication running. So this is dummy data that I'm able to put in just to test the app. I'll use an example login I might have and an example password. So I do that. Now I'm logged into my session. So this session, since I don't yet have user authentication figured out, I actually just have a default FHIR ID running in the background. I'm doing that again so I can test the processing of the data. At this point in time, I don't necessarily think the user management is the most valuable use of the application development. So as an example, I'll click into one of these. I tried to make these buttons large, clear contrast to make it as accessible as possible, since this is intended to be used for a range of audiences. If I click into medications, you can see there's a period where it was actually loading. So that loading was my application reaching out to this demo server, this demo FHIR server. You can see all of the packages I got back. The way that I structured my application essentially is that each of these categories are associated with various resource types. In the case of medications, for example, we have medication requests, medication administration, medication statements, and medication dispensing. It's useful, right? Because now somebody can look at this and they can see the history of their medications that they were provided, how much they were provided, the intent, the status of the medications as well, and they can trend that information over time. This will also be true for something like health metrics. So health metrics is another one of the categories I've put together. This category is associated with different resource types. In this case, it's condition, diagnostic reports, document references, observations, encounters, procedures, allergy intolerance, immunization, things of that nature. And you can see, right, again, it's interesting metrics associated with your health that may be useful for you to kind of plan for the future. So some of the other ones that I'll mention: medical records, condition, diagnostic report, document reference, observation, encounter, calendar. Calendar I put together with the intent of integrating the appointment and the care plan. Care team, that one is built with the resource care team in mind. And then community health. Community health is kind of a a holistic approach that I'd like to do. So actually aggregating data out of the server associated with the entire community's condition and observation rather than associating it with a specific individual. I think that is interesting, right? Because if you can understand some of the health metrics associated with the community that you're actually in, you can probably better trend and better understand the state of your environment, and possibly plan or change your behavior to try to mitigate maybe some of those risks that are being seen in your environment. So that's my health app. Can obviously log out, right? So a lot of my work was spent on that front end development, the interaction with this, and kind of learning how to actually use this interface and build out a React Native app. So I will shut that down. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was future work. So next steps in development, I'd like to add more personalized feature, customized health alerts based on user preferences, medical history. I'd like to enhance the data visualization. Obviously, I'm rendering these items and they're available and accessible. Again, I think it could be improved and iterated upon. I'd like to do further research as well. I'd like to understand and explore integration a bit more with diverse healthcare systems, maybe multiple servers, things of that nature, smart devices, expanding the app's functionality. I'm also interested in studying the user behavior to try to refine the app's interface for even better user engagement. One last thing I'd talk about is broader applications. So beyond individual patient use, I see the potential for an app like this to be used in clinical settings to assist healthcare providers, help them manage patient data more effectively, and probably more importantly, use patient data to make intelligent decisions from a provider perspective. I'd like to also explore additional domains such as telemedicine, remote patient monitoring, and understand how my solution could kind of open up additional avenues of value for users and providers in that context. These steps, my goal is to help ensure that the app would remain cutting edge, continue to meet the evolving needs of the users. Yeah. So to conclude, my project aims not only to enhance patient health management, but also to push the boundaries of what digital health apps can actually achieve. I appreciate your attention and thank you for watching my project recap.